David Clark.
Mr Chair, I may have beaten the Minister to his feet, and I apologise if that is the case. I wanted to build on what my colleague David Parker had said there, because it's also interesting that the NBR was asking recently the very same set of questions, and we know that members on that side of the House are fond of the argument that the capital gains tax already exists in a certain form, and that capital gains are being collected and there's no real need to change the law, even though the Minister isn't able to say whether that percentage is closer to 100 or closer to 0. But what was also interesting was that when the National Business Review put in an Official Information Act request to the IRD, they found that the IRD was not able to say the extent to which they follow up on these transactions and the extent to which they look for stagging, the extent to which they investigate, nor the extent to which, in dollar amounts, they collect from following up on these stringent rules that the Minister is so fond of and so fond of putting forward as an example of why a capital gains tax should not be introduced. And it is curious, Mr Chair, that we have a Minister who trumpets the benefits of a broad-based tax system but is not yet convinced of the merits of a capital gains tax, despite the world's leading economists recommend it, despite the IMF, the OECD, the Treasury and every other tax advice expert recommending broadening the base. The Minister recently, in a speech that he delivered to a learned audience, trumpeted the benefit of the broad base, but seemingly was not able to make the connection to broadening that base further, to ensuring that we have a level playing field for everybody who is interested in investment. So when the Minister steps to his feet, I'd like also, if he may add to not just the bit of information that David Parker asked for, but also if he could address the questions around prosecutions by the IRD for tax avoidance on that capital gains legislation or default legislation to which he referred in the Finance and Expenditure Committee. I would be grateful, and I'm sure that many of those following the debate at home would be delighted to learn that the wealthiest property investors were also being asked to pay their fair share of tax, because the statistics that we have that are recent show that indeed a very, very low proportion of those with high net worth in New Zealand pay tax, and that is that they do not declare wealth that sees them on the top tax rate. They do not declare income that sees them on the top tax rate despite having a significant amount of wealth. 75 million, the majority don't, above 75 million, the majority don't declare to be on the top tax rate. So, Mr Chair, when the Minister steps to his feet, we will all appreciate his explanation on that front. The tension is building. I shan't talk too much longer because we're all waiting to hear what the Minister has to say. He's been remarkably quiet in part one of the debate, despite belonging to a government that trumpeted the tax rates that we are now confirming. Once upon a time, they trumpeted those tax changes that are now widening the gap between rich and poor. Suddenly they've gone quiet. They seem content to see the wealthiest few get ever richer, while the other 90% struggle to achieve the Kiwi dream of owning a home, struggle to achieve a decent paying job. We know that median wage rates are going down, and struggle to get ahead for their families. And while all of that is going on, we have a Minister who seems to be sitting silent, not arguing for these changes that need to happen to make the New Zealand economy grow, that get the settings right, that develop the big change that's needed for New Zealand to prosper so that everyone can get ahead, everyone can have a positive start in life. I will sit down now and await what the Minister has to say on this, and I think that will be very telling for us all, and I expect we'll all learn a lot about what the government really believes in.
The question is that part one stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. The question now is that part two stand part. This is a debate on clauses 4 to 126 and the schedule. David Clark.
Mr Chair, I'm surprised the Minister didn't beat me to his feet again. It's a bill that we have in front of us.